Let's start at the beginning of nationals. You go into it as the defending national champion. What was your viewpoint going in?
Well, day one, I was kind of more concerned about the team and how the team was going to do all together. So I wasn't really thinking much about placements or scores coming from me individually. And second day, I think it was definitely a little bit tougher. And I knew from Winter Cup earlier this year, where I didn't do that well, that one of the things that I noticed was I was focusing on the scores and the other athletes and how they were performing. So this time when watching the rest of the competition, I see one of those top horse guys come up, I would get out from my seat and I would take a turn and I would hide away for a little bit so I didn't see it. And I tried to say is, to not know anything about how the horse competition was. So a lot of them, people were saying oh yeah, a bunch of people fell on horse. As soon as I finished, I was oh, I had no idea. I did see a couple of scores come up and see a couple of low scores, and I was oh, okay. So I knew that it wasn't going to be, a super neck and neck competition like it was last year. I think me and Coy last year at NC's finished less than a tenth away from each other. And so that put a little bit of weight off my shoulder, but again, I had zero clue what was going on until after I'd finished my routine.
So good strategy. Do you think it helped you not knowing all that?
I think for sure. I think when I go to competitions and I'm watching let's say Brandon Dang hit his routine and got 14.9, and I would have to sit there for the rest of the meet thinking my routine has to be perfect, I have to be perfect, and doing that over and over again, just building extra stress in my mind. So not knowing at all how anyone did, I think kind of let me more I just got to do the same thing I always do rather than trying to reach an objective that's too far.
Two-time national champion. We don't get to say that. I think it's the first time I've ever said that. Has it hit you yet?
Yeah, after the meet, or even after the routine, immediately after, it was such a good feeling. Being surrounded by all my teammates, seeing, the rest of the guys in the stands and the guys who are competing at finals, down there with me and all celebrating together. That was a really surreal moment to have, and definitely a memory I'll have forever.
What was it like for you to watch, Eric become an All-American too? I mean, finishing 7th, I'm not sure if even he expected that.
That was unbelievable. I knew that Eric was able to do it. I mean, we saw at Winter Cup earlier this year going against probably an even harder pool of guys because those include guys who've already graduated from NCAA, and he finished 8th at that competition. So, it was definitely a real possibility going into that, and I knew that, and just being able to see him rock routine after routine after routine. I think I lost my voice completely watching Eric compete, that entire day, just standing up and being there for him. It was incredible.
That's cool. You go to Cairo, you get a bronze medal. All these world international competitions now. Does it feel like old hat? Because I know, last few times we've talked, it's been okay, this is fairly new, but now your feet are soaking wet.
Yeah, last year was definitely dipping my toes in the water. And I think this year throughout the World Cup circuit, definitely got my name out there on an international stage rather than just a U.S. stage. And that was kind of the whole goal, was just to be competitive at all the World Cups, and I definitely accomplished that this year.
Yeah, for sure. So before we look ahead, why did you choose the Air Force Academy, and are you happy that you're still here because of, all the things that have happened?
So I chose the Air Force because I didn't have any other place to do gymnastics. No other college recruited me or emailed me back besides Josh and Serge. But, being here for 4 years now and on the team, I wouldn't replace it with anything else. I don't know how else I would have performed or grown as an athlete at any other college. I couldn't imagine, being at any other college for my 4 years than Air Force. And extremely grateful to the coaches for taking a chance on me and letting me come here and be a part of the team.
Absolutely. Now, do you feel what's it feel like now that you'll probably go WCAP? I believe it's been signed. So what the future for you is a little bit different than the guys who are going to graduate with you and me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay here and train with Josh, Sergi, and Mike, and keep going for more international competitions and spending more time in the gym than I have over the 4 years, and really nailing things down and trying to get better and push and hopefully make it to that 28 Olympic team.
there was an argument that could have been made for you to go last time, and everybody fell in love with the pommel horse guy that went.
Yeah.
I mean, are you able to even dream? I mean, it's so far away, but are you able to even dream about being on that Olympic team?
Yeah, I mean, I've been dreaming about it for 22 years now, so the dream is definitely still there. And I was so close last year, and it was something I didn't expect. So having that kind of in my back pocket going through these next 3-4 years and getting ready for that next Olympic trials and U.S. championship circuit to get on that team, I think is going to be a really positive thing, pushing me to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. The final question I have for you, an aspiring young gymnast who maybe hasn't been getting a lot of calls, why should they take a shot at the Air Force Academy? I mean, I know your story's different and you're like a diamond in the rough, but like, why should people come to the Air Force Academy for gymnastics?
Well, gymnastics-wise, I don't think there's a better coaching staff than what we have here. I don't think these are, I mean, obviously the best coaches I've ever worked with, and, just the environment we have down at the gym at practice, and then even, the brotherhoodship we have as a team where, most of the time, like if I'm off base or I'm doing something on the weekend away from practice, there's like a 95% chance I'm with the team, and stuff like that. Like, it's pretty, a lot of teams have like brothership stuff and they like all hang out together. A lot of teams are really close in NCAA, but I think that added like military, make it a little bit tougher, like really deepen those bonds a lot more than what these other university have. And then, just being able to work with the coaches here, like there's no better choice in my opinion.
I lied. Tell me why they're so good. What makes them so good?
For the environment that they create and what they push for each of their athletes, they have a different focus than a lot of NCAA teams have, where they want what's best for the athletes in aspects of if they want to pursue a future career, such as international stuff, then they work with the athletes. Difficulty is a big one. They're always pushing difficulty, and you see a lot of other teams, start to maybe have harder routines at the beginning of season, and you see them mess it up a couple of times, and then you slowly see them get a little bit easier and easier to make sure they're hitting, because they have a big focus on the NCAA season. But Josh, Sergi, and Mike have a big focus on like the athlete's career at whole. And, I don't work with any of the other NCAA coaches, so I could be talking out of my butt over here because obviously I don't know what they do. But like you can kind of tell the difference in just our routines usually tend to stay the same throughout the entire season, and then it's kind of just working on that and getting those high difficulty routines. And then also just the culture we have here at practice. Like, it's never been like, oh, like I have to go to practice today. It's always something I look forward to coming down and doing and hanging out with the team and hanging out with the coaches.
Patrick, thanks for the time. It's been fun to watch you. Congrats again.
Yeah, thank you so much.